yes. Greetings, one and all. Brother Siayome is here again this evening. Cosmic's Root Show. And yeah, got another session for you all, my soul brothers and sisters, incarnated souls on this plane in this time, going through what we've come here to do. And this is a very special time to be here. Great and dreadful in ways, you know. It's the big, what you call apex, in a sense of a completion of a particular time cycle, you know. And this is why so much is going on. Deeper. Realization is coming up for the surface. So, yes, greetings again to one and all. You are tuned in to Cosmic Roots Show on Bless Radio 1, www.blessradio.org. You can be tuning in live if you choose on Bless Radio 1 channel on YouTube. Now I'm live streaming, and you may see someone else's name up there, not my name, so don't think that it's not me. Sometimes it just takes a bit of time to be able to change, you know, the name on there to indicate who's the presenter on now. You see what I'm saying? But this is Brother Siayome, and if you see a name up there, Babu Ras Anthony, that is not him whose voice you're hearing right now. You are hearing I. You see? Siayome. So, yes, you are on the Cosmic Root Show, and like to give a shout out to those who are in the live stream right now. Brother Aaron, enough big up and respect to you, my brother. And, you know, some other folk who, yeah, they're there, but I can't see their name. Yeah. And my brother, Brother Aaron, yeah, good point. Good point. He said here, he made a statement just saying, do not suffer self-imposed illusion. Well, that is what is behind so much of the confusion and the collusion of what is being used to distract you from yourself. All what's going on in the news right now on the mainstream, what folk get themselves into is distracting them from themselves. But they think, you know, this is, you know, they want to have front row seats on this type of stuff that is chosen for them, selected for them to tune into. Yeah, on your mainstream TV, whatever story that they want to highlight, which is distracting you from yourself and more intrinsic and more penetrating things that are taking place within the infrastructure of society going through a change. But you see, when you're caught up on your daily diet of drama, and last Tuesday I was talking about getting out of the herd mentality. And I mean that as in H-E-R-D and also the H-E-A-R-D, as in a lot of people living upon what they've heard per se from the herd. You understand what I'm saying? Group mind thinking. A lot of people living, oh, I heard this, I heard that. You know what I heard? Yeah. And that all is part of the herd mind, the herd group. All right? And I was talking about getting out of the herd mentality. A lot of people do not know how to think for themselves. And what I mean by that is how to think correctly. And I'm not saying this in any derogatory way, you know. I'm just stating some facts, okay? And it looks like, you know, the truth can hurt the person because of the illusion that person is indulging in, so they hurt themselves. But truth don't really hurt. You're supposed to really glorify in the truth. You know, you even hear that in certain religious connotations. But I'm not here to bind you again, which is what the word religion means. I'm not here to do that. It's about freeing one from the fetters, or free one's soul, oneself from the fetters of the soul. And the fetters of the soul is this limited material hold this illusion's got on you, you know, got on us all to different levels of degrees. Some of us are definitely not as held into this as many others who need the social construct or media, what they see on TV, what they've heard, okay, to dictate to them their next action or next thought or how they should feel, you know, at any given moment. So, you know, we're not here to do that. We're here is about freedom, and not much folk are invested in your freedom. Because if you're free, you cannot be controlled. And you see, you know, okay, just got a message from my brother in New York. Okay, brother. Yes. Something, okay. All right. So, yeah, it was a solar return the other day, and just saying thank you, brother, because I, yeah, acknowledged that and so forth and shout him out on the FB. So, yes, I again have hit the ground running, and I feel there's not much time to really waste. If we're going to use time, then it's your time and your energy, then make it be of quality to your best ability in each and every moment, because energy is no static, you know, it ain't no thing to be just put on the shelf. You know what I'm saying? Energy is strong. Energy is real. Okay? And how you're using that energy and what kind of energy, what intention you're putting in that energy determines, you know, what you're going around manifesting. Now, prior to me coming through here, you was hearing something being played. And it was from a woman named One-on-One with Zaza Ali. Now, well, what she was saying, overcoming trauma and abuse. That is very, very true deal to be dealing with, and is very necessary as part of one's spiritual growth and development and progressing into liberation, okay? And yeah, I'm going to slow down and take my time this evening in the sense of my pace, because this is how I feel to flow this evening. Now, overcoming trauma and abuse is necessary, but at the same time, no excuse to justify behavior that uses your trauma and abuse to, you know, to do so, you know, justify your behavior. Well, what happened to me, and rah-diddy-rah-diddy-rah, yeah? Now, the thing is, there's a serious necessity within spiritual progress to overcome these traumas and abuse, because everything has a deeper cause behind the effects that folks find themselves experiencing now. As I said in my last show or previous ones, I did mention something about, we're dealing with the law of causation, and the law of causation is another term for karma. Okay. And, karma can be passed on from previous incarnations, because it's just, as I said, when you're dealing with time, natural time, well, then natural time is going to have its own allocated time for whatever has been sown to grow, blossom, and bloom, okay, in its own allocated time. Not no man-made, artificial, distortion idea of time. Okay, so some folk are experiencing the growth of their previous seed sowings, causations in previous times and this time. Okay, but here's the thing with this time. Because we're in a stellar activation cycle, and some of y'all who've been tuning in to what I've been saying for a while now, for these last 7 months, would have heard me mention this before about the time we're in. You've heard me talk about the stellar activation cycle, because that's what we're in. Stellar meaning star, okay? Activation is self-explanatory, and cycle is the fact that we have completed a 26,000-year cycle. Now, there are cycles within cycles within cycles, lesser cycles within greater cycles within lesser cycles, and they're all working and happening simultaneously with their own cause and effect behind them and results. The one we are in now is a completion of a cycle that is marking the end of a major evolutionary cycle on a galactic or cosmic level, okay? On what's been happening on this plane, on this earth, in this universe, and there's omniverses, and this is one of them. And why things are so different about this time is that this is the opportunity to wake up from being caught up in a long lost slumber, okay? And it's like a hypnosis. And if anyone knows the word hypnosis, hypnos means to sleep, okay? And osis is condition. So hypnosis is a condition of sleep. And what is taking place while you sleeping? You dreaming. And you've heard about this thing about wake up from out of your dream. Yeah? There's that term, wake up from your dream. You got to wake up out of your dream. Yeah? Well, if you're in a dream, you also have to realize there must be a dreamer of that dream. So the dreamer of that dream is who? Yep, you. You got it. And it's the time for the dreamer to wake up. So the dream that one is believing is real, believing in, and feeding and fueling while you're sleeping, dreaming it, it's time to wake up so you can end this illusion. You see, of whom and what you believed yourself to be. Many of us identify with being a person because this is how we've been conditioned. When you look up this term, person, you'll find that it means mask, okay? The mask. So we all know a mask is a mask. But who's behind the mask? Now, the mask enables you to see a form. But who's behind the form, you can't see. Does it have a form? There is that which is known as the formless form, meaning that there's a formless state, that which has no form. How can I give you a correlation to that to get what I mean? An example, a body of water. A body of water is a body of water. It's a body, but it's formless. It's a formless body of water. Now, when you get a vessel like a cup, a glass, a bucket, whatever's going to be the vessel, that becomes the form, okay? And then the water, which is fluid and formless, when poured into that vessel, will take on the form and shape of that vessel. Okay? But yet itself is formless. All right? Whereas the form, obviously, the vessel is the form. Now, the person is the form. The form. Okay? But the being is the formless awareness. That without the formless awareness, you wouldn't be here. So we've been conditioned to look at the body and say, the body is the reason why I'm here. But your body ain't the reason why you're here. The formless conscious awareness of you, which is you, is the reason why you have a body, to why you're here. But we focus much upon the form. And because of that conditioning, we begin to identify with the mind and now the idea of the person we believe ourselves to be based upon the psychological, emotional identification through the mind with the body or with the person. Now, then this leads people to want others to be the person they want that other to be for them. And through the person, we get personality. And from the personality, we have personal likes and dislikes. And through that personal likes and dislikes is where we formulate ideas of what we take personal, even when it has nothing to do with you per se. You know, even if something has nothing to do with you per se, you still take stuff personal. That's because of the identification of the person as the essential self, which it's not. All right. Now, I've talked about this many times. And I'm flowing from the show I did previously about getting out of herd mentality. Now, the person is where all of our problems come from, or where we are experiencing our fears and our ups and our downs and our likes and our dislikes, okay? And the control mechanism, gotta control someone, you know. But while you're doing that, you're neglecting the very essence of who you are, which is the consciousness, as I said, the formless awareness, intelligence, which is you. Now, you can feel the presence of that. You can tune in and feel the presence of that. But this is where direct experience comes on board, for one to be able to know for themselves. Because, you know, one man can't drink water to quench another man's thirst. Or I can't describe. I can describe to you how strawberries or blueberries or blackberries taste like, but there's a limitation to it because I can only explain it in words, and I may articulate that into words, but it can only go so far. At the end of the day, you're going to have to taste and experience those strawberries, black currants, and blackberries for yourself to know. So this is where, experiencing, yeah, the presence of your formless awareness as you, being aware of you, is what is necessary. You see what I'm saying? For you to begin to open up to know what is true, rather than just living in what you've heard alone, which keeps a lot of people in the herd mentality, because many people just live what they heard. Okay? And what they heard isn't true, but you've got this thing called belief. And because of the power of the nature of consciousness, the reality is that no thought really has any power in its own self unless you give attention to it. So you can believe something and it's not real in the sense of what is real, but you can make it real because you believe in it. And right now, a lot of people don't really care about the truth per se, because that's going to upset what they want to believe, because the person is gaining some sense of comfort from such a thing. Okay. So look here, so you heard this opening audio being played, a private video counseling session from this woman, Zaza. Now, everybody's going through their own trials and what's not. And there's some things she was saying about the female, what they're carrying when women are carrying. It's not just a female, we know that. But because the feminine is that feeling nature, the water nature within man and woman, it holds. The masculine principle is fire, electric. It can burn off, okay? But it also can hold on to certain emotional imprints, okay, that formulated at an early age one's personal self-image or emotional self-identity, okay? And that conditions this, what is known as the counterfeit self, the self-image. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us are attached to self-image, the image. They're saying by 2020 that most of the promotions, like you promoting a book or you're promoting yourself and stuff in some for whatever you're doing, is going to be now short videos, because people's attention span, they don't want to read too much. They just want to see something, So you got how they're moving everything into the visual, to how you are going to have to promote yourself soon. You're going to have to now know how to make little short movies on that. You see what I mean? To promote a book. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to, yeah. So the thing is, anyway, this self-image we have. Now, what she was saying was about the necessity. We got to clear out our, it's like, look, if you want to receive clean water in a cup, you're going to have to wash out the cup. The cup's dirty. It's got sediment in it already. And you want to receive clean water. So therefore, if the cup has got sediment in it, it's dirty, you got to wash out the cup before you can receive pure, clean water, right? Okay? So with it all, is also, you got to look at spiritual progress as a form of detoxification. Because a lot of folk, again, new age and misconceptions of this thing, spirituality, just think that, you just walk around dressed in white and, say a few mantras and yours, and I'm talking to the universe and you're just floating on cloud nine everywhere, or I don't want to see what's negative. I'm only dealing with what is positive, which is a condition because from the person level, what's positive to you is based on a condition. And what's negative to you is based on what you personally may like. And what you consider negative is what you personally dislike. You see what I'm saying? Through your conditioning. So when people chat about positive, negative, they may not even know what they're talking about. In its true sense, they're only coming from the person. And they are not dealing with the spirit at all. Okay? Now, we look at this word spirit, and we have respiration, inspiration. Yeah? Perspire. Respire. Yeah? Which is the same thing as respiration. Now, inspiration, respiration, spiration, inspiration is coming from the word spirit. In other languages, you would call it nafs, the spirit, or nefesh, the breath, you see. And the breath is very vital. Just try and hold your breath. Go on, for longer than 2 minutes. Just hold it. Go on, let's see how you do. You know what I'm saying? You may not kind of get past 5 or 10 seconds. But the point being is, you already are spirit. You see how it goes? We're there looking outside of ourselves for something that you already is. It's more about tuning into what you already is rather than trying to, I got to become more of this, and you're considered spiritual based upon the stuff you wear. Huh? Or the kind of books you read, or which is your teacher. You see? At the end of the day, we all have to come to know our own energy. We got to know our own energy. Yeah? No one can know you like you. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people think they know other people when all of their dealing is the person they believe that person to be for them or to them. I say this, that no one knows. Listen, man, if you don't know yourself, you definitely don't know me. And you cannot. Okay? Because you're looking at me as some person. And I'm not a person. I know that. You know what I'm saying? You got to know yourself for you to be able to know someone else. Because you got to be able to already have gone past that personality, that person, the mask, yeah, the shell. I mean, look, you leave it more times every night, and you may not recollect where you travel to, your consciousness, the formless awareness of you, yeah? But you go somewhere, and then you come back with impressions, recollections, and you may get caught up in the scene so much and forget who perceived all of that to bring back the report that you're now, reporting on this side, waking side now. You see, who perceived that? And where does perception take place? Perception does not take place outside of you. It takes place within you. So who's perceiving whatever's being perceived? And this is an exercise. This is what we call a certain discipline and the principle of going direct to yourself. The process of how you can tune in to who you are beyond. Okay, brother. Okay. Thank you for, yes. Thank you very much, brother. Yes, yo. Just give thanks to Brother Bless. He's he's the manager of this station, looking after me here very well as a brother. You know what I mean? Very much appreciate, love that. And we have a resonance. And resonance is the thing. We want harmonic resonance with that which supports us, okay? You know what I mean? So it's more about, spirituality is more about tuning into who you already are. But then that means you got to get to a point where you got to realize that whom you think you is as a person ain't you. That cannot be you. And how is that not you? Because the person goes through changes. Like the moon goes through changes, goes through different phases. And what is constantly changing in the scheme of reality is never considered that which is real. You see? It's part of what makes up the illusion. It's part of what, when we're dealing with time, space, and matter, that's part of the manifested universe. And time is the master in that, okay? Because time consumes things, all right? After time, everything kind of reaches, a certain stage of, growth, and then it goes through a certain decline to come back again in a different way, because you cannot destroy energy. Energy just changes from form to form, state to state, okay? So who you are is the immutable, unchanging consciousness, because that's the soul. And I said before that the soul is what it sounds like, sun, solar. But we're not talking about them suns up in them stars in the sky. And notice everybody wants to be a star, or when I say everybody wants to be a star, I'm saying that many people want to shine. They'd wear artificial blingy bling bling to compensate for the light within, the true light within. You see how that go? And not realizing what they're trying to emulate, by the, external bling, material bling. Even the attention, light will attract attention. It's like, ooh, light. Yeah. So people compensate with the bling bling rather than tuning into the true light within, you see? And so there's a process. And spiritual progress is like detoxification. Things have to come up in order to be released. Once we have asked to be healed, then all our unhealed places are forced to the surface. And this is what confuses people, because this is what they try to avoid. They want to escape the work and just give me a pill and I'm there. And this is what happens when you have this idea of spirituality, where you have the New Age stuff like, oh, if anyone's talking about fear, you must, tune out of that because it's not true, because fear. And who's talking? Who's talking that stuff? It's only the positive, and it's only you got to only focus on that. And it's like, well, that's the quickest way for you to receive what you're denying and suppressing in yourself, because you don't want to face the whole of you, okay? Even the word heal means to be whole, okay? So there's this overcoming trauma and abuse. And abuse is just the abuse of power. That's when abuse comes in, because you got power, but then if you misuse that power to have power over someone or something, then rather than correctly using your power by being empowered and being the master of your own energy, then you're stepping across that line and you're abusing the power. You see what I'm saying? You're not correctly using your power, you know? And we all know there's a correct way to use something and an incorrect way to use it. You know what I'm saying? Like a screwdriver has been created for the purpose to unscrew screws, tighten screws, and loosen screws, okay? But you can also use a screwdriver to open up a can of baked beans. Yep. Oh, I ain't got no opener. Oh, gotta make use of what I got. Oh, here's a screwdriver, and let me go stab the the can of baked beans, and you know, you work it around and open it up. But that's not what the tool was for. That's not what its purpose. But you've adapted it. Okay? So this adaptation to something of things that was not naturally created for that purpose. So it's how we use power. And what is power? Power is the ability to create from no thing into something. The power from no thing, and that's what I'm saying in this way, no thing. Because, you know, you get the word nothing. Oh, there's nothing. You know, and it's like, yeah, it's no thing. No thing, and you got something. Ooh, summed up to a thing. But before that, it was no thing. It didn't sum up to something you could define and say, oh, there's something. But no thing is a state. No thing is the formless deep. Yeah? The formless deep. The formless deep of your own self. The formless deep of your own beingness. Your own isness. You see? So you got, going back to the beginning of what you heard at the beginning of the audio being played. This process of overcoming your trauma and abuse, and through abuse is how you receive trauma. And you hear the whole term of post-traumatic stress syndrome. And that used to be equated to, or that word was derived when soldiers, you know, fighters, you know, came back from Vietnam. And they were diagnosed with, you know, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Because of what they experienced, what they underwent in war. You know, some of these dudes were 19. Yeah. Never gone out, fought anyone before, but you have to be drafted into war at that age. And then you're seeing bombs blown up in front of you, people fried alive, shooting dead, pow, tuka to pow, you know, all of that, and you shooting and to kill to save your personal life. I mean, that's some traumatic stuff. People having limbs blown off and all of that type of stuff. Oh, yeah. And then you come back. You're going to come back the same as you left. You know, you hear this term shell-shocked. You know what I'm saying? Well, you end up finding that a lot of people who haven't been into wars like Vietnam and all of that, they come to realize that 85% of the people are suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome. Yeah. And you haven't gone on the battlefield as you would consider a battlefield to be. But what do we have as another field that they also use that term in battlefields? I'm going to tell you now. You have a minefield. And your mind, and that's, well, you got to be careful where you step, right? Step on a minefield, that's it, you're gone. Kapow! Yeah? If you move from it, kapow! Yeah, you step on it, oops, then you got to stay there. Because if you move off it, it's kapow. What tension. Woo, what stress that puts you under. Well, you're also dealing with the minefield of the mental plane that I talked about some strongs ago, about the mental plane. And I said about these three planes, the spiritual plane, the mental plane, and the physical plane, we reside in these three planes simultaneously right here and now. They're not separate as in locational distance. They only differ in degrees of vibration. Right now, you're sitting in your sitting room or in your room or wherever you are, listening to my voice, hearing this transmission, picking it up as the receiver, okay? And, you know, these frequencies right where you are many multitude of frequencies moving in, through, and around you right now. And if you were able to tune in to one of these frequencies as you're tuning into one now, while you're able to pick up my voice, you're able to pick up the frequency on whatever device you're using, because, you know what I mean, you got the frequency receptor. You have the frequency receptor to be able to receive it. Okay? If you didn't have the frequency receptor on whatever device you're using, you would not be able to pick this up. And yes, I'm talking technical and using that as an analogy, but you're like that. Every cell we have, in our cells, we have we have receptors. Okay? When you're dealing with cells, because everything's made up of cells, okay? So this is how we relate. You got cell receptors on these cells. And this is how the cells receive the information or the frequency, the energy, the information that's being transmitted, broadcast, yeah, from the central brain, okay, to be picked up on the cell receptors on the membrane of your cells. So each cell's got a brain, all right? Each cell's got memory, okay, of your body. Each cell, each cell, each cell. So, you know, this is how I'm flowing, and I'm giving useful info right here. But it seems like it's not taking that particular format. And it doesn't have to. Because we always think that things have to be the way we've been conditioned for things to be. Something has to be a certain form. You see, we're very caught up with form. And the thing is that we're here to transform forms that are no longer, okay, workable, no longer viable to one's self-expression, to the growth and development of whom you are coming to realize of yourself to be now. Differently to how your awareness was 20, 30 years ago. So forms must change in order to accommodate the expanded, more mature, more developed expression of who you are. So forms work as a servant to accommodate the essence, the inner essence that's seeking to express itself, okay? And if forms become crystallized in a way where it's now rigid, it now becomes limiting, it now becomes constraining, then now you are going to experience limitation. And that form would have to be fractured in order to liberate you. You, the essence within, to find a greater avenue of expression or a new form of expression. Hence, transforming the form that it was expressing itself in through before. I hope you're staying with me and getting what I'm saying, yo. So, everything is about energy. Everything. Consciousness is energy. Your thoughts are energy. Your emotions is energy. Feelings are energy. All is energy. Consciousness, intelligence is energy. Okay? So energies can take on different expressions, but it's all energy. So I'm bringing it back to my previous show when I'm talking about getting out of herd mentality, where you're just part of a consensus. You're not an individuated. You haven't entered into the stage of individuation. And there's 3 stages of that, because you can have you firstly rebel from the group when you realize, hang on a minute, this group is too limited for me. At first, you wanted to be with the group because the group is where, you feel, you're going to find your sense of belonging in the group. I want to identify. I want to be with this group. I want to belong. So you do whatever you feel is necessary to belong to this group. After a while, you end up realizing this group is limited. And then you begin to feel, I want to leave this. You begin to rebel against the group. Then you begin to analyze and realize that the group is stagnant. No one's really thinking beyond the stuff that they said, 10 years ago. It's the same thing you're talking about. Or the same experiences you're having, because you're still tuned into that limitation, that form of thinking, that structure, okay? And then you can start to criticize the group, because you're seeing more. You're seeing beyond the limitations of what the group herd mind are limited in seeing. You see? So what's happening is there becomes a stage of individuation that is very important if you are to come out of the herd. Yeah? Mentality, the group mentality, the tribal mentality. And this can be, your first tribe is your family, your parents and your sisters, your siblings, and so forth. Now, I know some folk are really pushing and promoting this thing like family is the most important thing. There's nothing more important than family, and all of this thing about family. And I disagree with that. I disagree with that strongly. I disagree with that, not just to be disagreeing for the sake of it. I disagree with it because that's another entrapment. And because family comes from the word familiar. And we've all heard what the word familiar. What does familiarity breed? What does familiarity breed, y'all? You've heard it. Yeah, y'all saying it in your mind, those who know. Contempt. Familiarity breeds contempt. And there's a lot of people in families familiar with one another that hold contempt in their hearts and minds towards members in the family. Why? Because many people, as I said, look at themselves as a person. And they look at people around them also as persons. And many people have this frame, this idea they frame another person in to say, I know him, I know her, I know them, that person. And when a person changes, you find other persons beginning to feel uncomfortable with that change taking place in that other person. And they will say things, I don't like the person. They'll say things like, I don't like the person you've become. I prefer the person you were before. Y'all know, you've heard them things. I like the person you were before, right? So what happens with contempt is that people want to hold people in certain frameworks, believing that they know them. And as I said earlier on, person ain't who you are. And the more an individual begins to wake up to themselves, wake up to the indweller, okay, of the form, of the temple. I'm not saying that your person, your body, your form is something to neglect and it's not important. Yeah? I'm not saying that. You have to understand, you have to understand, you got to understand, to rise up, to overstand, all right, who you really is. So you have a temple, and they call the two sides of your head a temple. And then a temple is something, a place where you go into, you enter into a temple, okay? To dwell within that temple, to observe what's going on in that temple, what is present in that temple. You see? You dwell within the temple. So your temple, this form, this body, is where you tune into. You go within it by closing your eyelids. Okay? That's as simple as you go. There's no big mystery in how you enter into your own temple. You do it every night. But you're not being present and consciously aware of yourself as the indweller, because you're identifying with your mind, which is the personal image, this personal self-image, which has become known as the ego, which is the counterfeit identity, like a counterfeit 50-pound note. You see what I'm saying? It looks similar, but it ain't the thing. Unless you know what the authentic 50-pound note is, what it looks like, and how and what traits it has, what signs it has, for you to be able to discern, hey, that's the authentic, differently to the counterfeit. Then you will get caught up mistaking the counterfeit as the authentic. And then you got many folk who don't even care. You know what I'm saying? They're stuck in the illusion big time. They're dealing with the counterfeit, feeding that up, and the consequences are, tremendous, because there's going to be they're ruled by more fear. Now, Now, let me just big up some listeners. Those who are tuning in, I would like to big up Solski. I'd like to big up Chanel. I'd like to big up Esther. I'd like to big up Maxine. I'd like to big up Brother Aaron. I'd like to big up, hang on, just looking at some things here. I like to big up Brother Theo, Cousin Theo. I like to big up, and when I say big up, yo, it's a shout out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just shouting out, yo, acknowledging you tuning in. You see, you tuning in. So, and there's quite a few others, but it's like, as you can see by notice by the way I'm talking, I'm focusing my attention on something on my phone right here. But yeah, I would like to big up all the listeners, or a big shout out to you all, to all the souls tuning in, okay? Because as I'm going to continue about energy, how I'm just flowing into this, and about this sister at the beginning talking about trauma. You see, you got a lot of women, they're walking on the street, body's fine, look nice body, look at what's going on now. The whole obsession with the body. Now, don't get me wrong. Look after your body. Make it fit, sculpture it as you choose and see fit. Okay? Yeah, of course, because you must feel good in your body. Because a lot of people are not fully in their body. And you have a body for a reason and a purpose. As for you to be your soul, for your soul to be fully embodied, okay? For you to experience and express yourself through this temple here. You got a lot of people who are not fully embodied. They're half in, half out. You see what I mean? So that's why they never feel comfortable within themselves. So, but you must realize that you're more than the body. So everything in a society, consensus thinking, is conditioning folk to look outside and conform to a particular image in order to be accepted as beautiful, attractive, okay? And, you know, right now is butt galore, you know what I mean? You know, holy put women work on their butts, butt, you know what I mean? Holy put butt. And that's cool. You're doing all your weight training and all of that, you know what I mean? Big up that butt. Some sisters don't have no problem. They born with that butt. You get what I'm saying? And then now you work out ways to get a butt if you don't have a butt. So there's no excuse for not having a butt if you want a butt. Get what I'm saying? Right. So you got all of this butt, yeah, going on. Butt pumping. Okay. Some is real, some go through the work, and some is artificial. Okay. See all of this? But you got some folk who think that's enough. You know, they can look as aesthetically attractive or what would be considered beautiful, depending on what standard you're using for your own self to be considered as beautiful. And that's the aesthetics, and that could be fine. And the body's fine. It's like, whoo, that look good. You know, you feel it. Be honest, huh? You know, I'll be real. I'll look at stuff and I'll be, oh yeah. You know, what's up? I can appreciate heavenly bodily forms. I mean, you got heavenly bodies in the sky. Well, you got heavenly bodies on this on earth, yeah? You know what I'm saying? So you can appreciate heavenly bodies. But check this out. There's a lot of women walking and they're not drawn to themselves, you know, they ain't got no man. When I say ain't got no man, they don't have any harmonious relationship, just drama. And you would have to say, well, if the looks was all it was about, if the body fit and firm was all that it was about, then how come this woman is how can this woman not have a man? You know, it's like, dang, like you ain't got no man. Yeah. And you see, what I'm saying here is that there's a lot of women that would complain about they ain't got no right man and stuff. And the thing is like, and look how fine they look, and or you know, you get people kind of baffled. Damn, man, you look so fine. How come you ain't got nobody chasing your behind? Yeah, you look so fine. How come you ain't got nobody chasing your behind? But you see, the thing is that it's not just about how you look. It's not just about your body and shape, even though that on a, as I said, physical aesthetic level can be very pleasing to the eye. But you know what the problem is? It's your energy. You see, I feel it when I walk the street. Got some of these women look kind of very attractive, but their energy, damn, that energy is damn, yeah. Because men and women are walking with this fear and trauma. Not clearing no trauma, not clearing the abuse. They're walking with this trauma and they're carrying fear. And they're not in the positive. You see, their energy ain't positive. Your energy ain't positive. Your energy's full of fear. You're carrying and holding that shit. And that repels any positive brother. That's gonna draw to you more of the reflection of the energy you carry. And as a sister, a woman herself, who's doing counseling, is advising you women to clean up your internal landscape, y'all. Yeah, some of y'all talk about spiritual this and that. Some of you are ready to jump on some man's neck back, run them down and cuss them out because you so conscious and spiritually elevated and you know this and that. But as I said earlier, spirituality can be like detox. Spiritual progress and the procedure is going to start off like a detox program. Okay? And it's going to have to bring up your crap. Because if you want clean water to be filling up your cup, but your cup is full of rancid, dirty, sedimented things in it, then you're going to have to clean out that cup. And you can't use no cold water on that. You seen anybody try to wash plates, huh? Wash out pots, huh? With cold water? Anybody ever try to do that? Do that? Man, you're going to have a hard time doing that. Cleaning that thing. You don't use cold water. You have to use hot water, man. You got to use hot water. Oh, I got a caller coming in. Greetings, caller. Hello.
Hey, it's Aaron.
Okay, speak again so I can turn you up.
Hey, it's Aaron.
Aaron. Let me just turn the volume up for you. Hey, Aaron. Beautiful. How you doing, brother? Can you hear me? Aaron.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, you can hear me loud and clear. Brilliant. I'm just turning up the volume on the phone.
I think there's quite a bit of delay as well.
There's a bit of delay. Oh, bro, glad I'm getting a call in from you. I did receive someone asked me to send was that you? Did you send the message in about the telephone number? Aaron.
No.
Do you hear me?
No, that wasn't me.
That wasn't you. Okay, that was someone else. Just before we go into the discussion, I just want to, for who did send it a message about the telephone number to call in is 07944431366. That's 07944431366. Okay? For other callers who would like to call in after. Darren, thank you for calling in. Very, very please, Aaron. My Lord, what's going on? Aaron.
Bro.
I was in the flow and I just kind of went in there somewhere. So that's where my mind just kind of, went off saying Darren instead of Aaron. You know what I'm saying? Aaron means high.
Yeah,
you see?
worries, man.
Tall mountain, yo. So how are you doing, brother? Thank you for calling in.
Doing great.
Good, great. So, what do you have in your mind?
Okay, so I've got like 3 points, right? So, just going back to you started talking very in the macro. You started talking about time and things like that.
Go on 1 second, Aaron. 1 second. I'm doing some technical stuff just so I can get higher volume off you. You're still there, Aaron?
Yeah. I'm
Brilliant.
still here.
This is better. Okay, I'm hearing you louder and clearer. Just had to make some adjustment.
Okay, fantastic.
Brother engineer came in here and saved the evening, bro. You know what I mean? I don't want to lose a 1 ounce of what you're saying. I don't want everything to come through clear.
To the engineer.
Yeah, brother bless. Okay.
No, they're important guys.
Yes, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? All right, we're hearing you loud and clear, Aaron. So yes, you was saying I was going in through the microcosm or the macrocosm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You started talking about the macro. I mean, obviously, it's all related. The macro and the micro. But,
yes, exactly.
Just to kind of maybe take that kind of to another place. Like one of the thoughts I had when you started talking about that.
Yes.
Was like so. One of the theories some of me and my friends have is that the beginning of the universe was existence or consciousness trying to imagine what it was. So it had to imagine everything that it wasn't.
Okay.
So if you're trying to find yourself, it's not going to be any of the things that you can see, touch, smell, and all that kind of stuff. It's none of that. and just to kind of link the macro and the micro, we're experiencing perhaps the same thing. You know, we are creative beings. We can create what was
Absolutely.
made.
Absolutely.
You know,
Uh-huh.
um, but yeah, like the point you made earlier about cleaning your cup, that was one of the things that really resonated with me. And
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things where, you know, you have to look at what habits you introduce into your day, into your routine, because we are creatures of habit, whether we like to admit it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's very important that, you know, you look at things in a, maybe in a, you know, some people say positive and negative, and I've found myself growing to say constructive and destructive. And
Right.
that's maybe something I'd like to share with people,
Yes.
because, you
Uh-huh.
know, it can maybe direct you further towards the actions with which you can attain that positivity or that negativity, whichever way you
Absolutely.
choose to go. But it
Absolutely.
can help you recognize what you're doing in those terms.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go on.
And yeah, just, well, yeah, just so when you started going into, you know, how you know, a sort of a not a spiritual awakening, but, you know, a rising of our frequency, you know, a spiritual progression, I
Yeah.
think is the term you used.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, that
Spiritual
can feel
progress.
like a detox,
Yes.
right? That's a very good way to put it,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, and a term I've heard used is apophysis. So that's referring
Okay.
to things in the negative.
Okay.
And just that sense of things kind of resonates with how you're putting it there, because one of the things that we have to learn as humans and as people of this society especially is what to say no to. It's very easy
Mm.
to say yes to everything. It's very hard to say no to certain things. And
Mm-hmm.
that's maybe one of the things that I could maybe relate kind of your point to, in terms of, you know, cleaning your cup. You know, what are you going to say no to?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as you were saying, we're habitual creatures, and we learn, we gain a certain so much stuff through habit, being repetitively caught up. And I was before you called, I was mentioning about the energy, and I was saying about the aesthetics. I was referring to this to women. Hope they don't feel that I'm personally attacking them, but I have to, various things dealing with the feminine is going on. Even women themselves who are in their spiritual progress and development know that this is what is taking place and trying to assist their fellow sisters to do what is right by their own selves. So women, water
Mm-hmm.
holds on to energy, and as I was saying, holds on to thoughts, memories, and so forth. And the aesthetics is not enough, because a lot of these women are walking around and don't realize that they are being vibrationally read by various men, various ones who are on that level of spiritual growth and progress, and they've been in this thing for quite a while. And now it's getting even more intensified when we're dealing with, what's taking place. The changes that you see manifesting externally is all coming from within. And what's happening, these energies are being read more and more. And a lot of reasons why, and going to relate this to what you're saying. A lot of the reasons why there's a lot of repulsion taking place, not rather than attraction, with in the sense of what we want to call into our lives and so forth, and what I feel and witness with a lot of women on the street is the energy they're carrying is unattractive. It's not about your looking, the what you're seeing, and it's what they're holding on to rather than working through and working how to dissolve it and let it go, so they can be filled with that clear water of positive energy to be able to then draw towards themselves that which is going to assist them in growing, and expanding and developing. So there's this issue about letting go, and what we have coming up a lot, especially in this time, and especially as last Tuesday I was talking about the partial solar eclipse. And what we are also getting ready for is the full lunar eclipse, which is in the opposite sign of where it took place last Saturday. When we're talking about Capricorn, okay, with when I was what I was gonna say. What I was gonna say. Doing a Capricorn. In the Capricorn, and then now we're dealing with Cancer. Yeah, the sign opposite
Okay.
Capricorn, and we're moving into this feeling where we're firstly it's about letting go of structures that don't serve us anymore. Okay, where we've been giving our power away. That's the Capricorn aspect where we become our own authority. And with the Cancer, it's about the feelings of how do we feel nourished and what are we nourishing? Do I feel secure or do I, what am I? What feelings am I nourishing myself with or poisoning myself with? You see what I'm saying? Based on the thoughts and feelings, the habitual thinking, the energy one's holding on to. So 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 this is gonna bring up about more about your soul, what's essential to you, rather than just dealing with the external aesthetics that people want to hold on to and not working on their inner energy. So really, basically, what I'm saying is that this lunar eclipse coming up on Monday, the 21st, is going to be dealing with the change in your feelings, the change in your inner energy, and it has to be more in alignment with the integrity of your soul rather than what the personality construct structure, self-image, you know what I mean, is all it has been trying to defend all this time. Are you with me?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And one of the things, we all have to remember, and this is kind of relating back to what you're talking about, the herd, we are all beings who are informed. We have been, our cups have been filled for us to a certain point.
Okay, the preconditioning.
And
Yeah,
for sure,
I hear what you're saying.
yeah,
Yes.
and that therefore informs what this persona is.
Mm-hmm.
People need to start really grasping onto the fact that, you know, like I said, everything that you can sense isn't you. It isn't what is. Yeah, we're all one, but everything you feel is not what it is.
Yeah.
It's so much more about what you are inside, and ultimately, if I was gonna put it into a form that people can understand, it's the decisions you make, the things that you allow to occur.
Mm-hmm.
That is the essence of your soul. That is the essence of your spirit in this realm. In this realm, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing we only really have control over. People want to complain about things that they see on the news and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and say, "Oh, well, what can I do?" Well,
Mm-hmm.
what happens when billions of people say that to
Uh-huh.
themselves?
Uh-huh.
What you see on TV,
Exactly.
exactly, it's there in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The answers are right under your nose, as the saying goes. You know.
Yeah. And this herd thing, that's part of that consensus. People, you see what amplifies itself, yeah? Through many people focusing their attention on the same thing as well. You see what I mean?
Oh yeah,
You see,
giving it power.
giving it power. What I feel I wanted to, when I get some more calls in, what I would do some readings, personal readings for people. You know what I'm saying? What sign is you, Aaron?
I am a Virgo.
Virgo. Well,
Yeah.
the Virgo, the Virgo, the Virgo. Virgo's about service. And really, to simplify this, all Virgos is going through a place where they need to realign or align with what it is that they're serving and how serving is very different from being in servitude. And ultimately, it's about learning about serving the source within oneself. Yeah? Because Virgo is opposite the sign Pisces, which deals with your spiritual consciousness, the source. But we've had over the last 2,000 years a separation in this whole idea of service and what's being served. And we are very in this time now where many people are becoming very health conscious, which is Virgo. You know, how the body, what they eat, you know, the health and the mind and the body connection. You see what I mean? And it's about that nurturing and developing and what we do as a ritual, as a habitual daily habit that serves ourselves to keep our health. You see what I'm saying? In alignment and in attunement with our spiritual nature. Pisces
Absolutely,
is,
man.
you see? Go on.
If you want to raise your frequency, examine what you do frequently. A little saying.
Say that again. Say that
Yeah.
again. Say that again, Aaron.
If you want to raise your frequency, examine what you do frequently.
Well, there you go. You hear that, people? If you want to say it again, brother. If you want
to raise your frequency, examine what you do frequently.
Well, there you go. Exactly. Because what you're doing frequently is becoming a frequency, right? That is either elevating you or keeping you the place you don't want to be anymore. You see what I'm saying? And frequency, what we do through repetition and how frequent, how often we're doing something begins to establish that which you're doing in your life as an energy field, if you want to put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Or an energy signature. So that's very good. Because if you want to raise your frequency, you do have to observe what you're doing frequently, because the thoughts and feelings that we frequently hold within, are they, you said earlier, are they constructive or deconstructive or destructive? You see what I mean? Will determine the frequency energy you're on. You know what I'm saying? So, thank you, bro. You know what I'm saying? With what you've called and contributed with. I noticed, you know what I mean? Yeah, I would like, feel free to call in even, more if you feel there's anything that triggers you. You see what I'm saying? Inspires you to...
Oh no, I'm triggered.
You know what I'm saying? People get triggered all over the place right now with the amount of type of things going on. That's the truth. And it's interesting because if you're triggered, when we're triggered, that's also an aspect of what's coming up for us to be cleared, because that's how we get manipulated. You see what I'm saying? That's how we get, that's how we also can use these indicators to see where we're at or where we're not, what work, because the spiritual progress is like detox. So what has to come up to come out has to be the process that precedes the filling up with the clean, pure water. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see? So, so what I'm saying about, I think anybody who calls in and tell me what sign they is, I'm going to give them a reading without even knowing anything about their chart or anything. You see what I'm saying? And just see if that resonates where they are right now.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that would be one. You see what I mean? And it doesn't have to be long, because what I've just touched on, you resonated with. You see what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
You see what I'm saying? Well, listen, Aaron, thank you for calling in. I'm going to open the lines up in case anybody else wants to call in. And, but
absolutely,
I really appreciate you calling in, Aaron. And, you see, this is what I want more of, because the consciousness that is there, that's resonating with what this show is about. This is what empowers us all who's on the frequency. You see what I mean? To call in and contribute and say their experience or share their expanded awareness that is taking place within themselves, that they're noticing, what they're becoming more aware of. You see what I'm saying? And this is how we can support one another who's in that frequency, resonating with that spiritual progressive intention to get more empowered. Like is about empowering one another rather than disempowering one another. You see what I mean?
Absolutely, man. I'm going to let go now. I'm going to keep listening.
Thank you very much, Aaron, and thank you again for calling in. Okay? All right.
Bless radio.
Thank you, brother. Bless you. All right. Yes, that was beautiful there. You see, that was Brother Aaron, and calling in. Yeah, I see the message. Yo, Star, I only saw this afterwards. Oh, brilliant. I'm really glad for that. And exactly, you hear what he's saying. To raise your frequency, you have to examine what you're doing frequently, because we get caught up in habits, and these habits are contributing to where it's keeping us. You see what I'm saying? Where it keeps us where we don't want to be. Now, what I was saying prior to the call and sticking on there, and I was saying about what we walking around with. You got women walking, and it's their energy. If you're walking around and carrying trauma and abuse, and this is that's your frequency, because you're frequently. Here's another thing. I'm going to go into another level of this as well. I did say that when I talked about the mental plane, I was saying what takes place when we think. We're activating vibrational frequencies. I did mention about you got the spiritual, the mental, and the physical plane. Okay? And we reside in all three simultaneously. And they are not separated based on location and distance, as in, physical locations. They are only separated, if we even use that word. They differ in degree. That's the better word I will use rather than separated. So these planes differ in the degree of vibration. So the spiritual plane vibrates at a higher vibrational frequency than the mental plane. The mental plane vibrates at a higher vibrational frequency than the physical plane. So the physical plane is the slowest. What it means now, when I'm talking about vibrating at a higher frequency of what? It's the higher frequency of positivity. The spiritual plane is at the highest frequency of positivity in comparison to the mental plane, which is beneath the spiritual plane and therefore is vibrating at a lower level or a frequency of positivity, okay? Which is why the spiritual will affect the mental. Now, the mental is existing at a higher plane of positivity than the physical plane, which is why your mental will affect your physical. You see? So what is vibrating at the higher frequency than what is presently taking place has more transformative power to direct, operate, transform, and transmute that which is at a lower vibration to it. So part of the universal laws, or the laws of existence, is that higher energy, higher frequency always works upon the lower. So this is the reason why it's to raise one's frequency into higher realms of positivity if one wants to make a change on the level, on the plane that they want to see this change manifest. Okay? So the spiritual plane is the highest level of vibration. And that's the realm your soul resides in. Now, if you notice that the mental plane is the mediator, it's in the middle. So what you're doing with your mind is indicating whether you're moving more toward the positive polarity that begins to integrate and unify you with source within yourself, your soul, okay? You waking up to your soul and you raising higher in the spiritual planes of dimensions. And then the mind, if the mind's moving more towards the physical side, this is where you're becoming more, one could say, you're negative, because negative is all right, let me explain this, because when we look at things from the human perspective and the conditioning, we use words like positive and negative to refer to good and bad. This is not what they mean in the spiritual plane. Yeah? Because, you know, that is human separation and duality and conflict and judgment and like and dislike, better and worse, right and wrong. All of that is in the realm of the personality, which is where most people identify with, and where the conflict remain. That's where the conflict resides, with these false perceptions of reality. We're not perceiving things as they are because of the conditioned mind, the conditioned mentality. So I said that the mental is in between the spiritual and the physical. So when we're talking about positivity and negativity in the spiritual sense, not the earthly sense, which will think that's good and bad and one's right, one's wrong. When we're talking about positivity in the spiritual context, positive represents integration, that you're moving more into unity within yourself. You're moving more into the direction of oneness. Yeah? And negativity would mean that your consciousness is exploring more the avenue of separation. Now, what I mean by separation is that when we get caught up in the human plane of judgment, okay? This is good, this is bad, this is the personality. As I said, you got personal likes, personal dislikes. And who we is not a person. What you are is not a person. As I said, the spiritual realm is where your soul resides. That's the causal plane. That's really where you begin. Yeah? That's your source. And we drop in vibrations through these planes, and then through the substance called mind, yeah, is how we then manifest the physical, okay? Because it's consciousness intelligence that's operating through the substance called mind, that then now the mind does the creating, yeah, to manifest or crystallize, and we're going to say formalize the physical form, the physical body. Hence you got spirit, and matter. And spirit and matter is not separate, but the human conditioning is what has created this false impression of separation, okay? So when we talk about negative, this is when we're moving more in towards separation, because the separation, the mechanics of separation, or the mechanism that perpetuates, continues separation, the sense of separation, is judgment. Judgment based upon, is this better or worse? You could be judging yourself as better or worse, greater or lesser to whatever you're judging yourself to. This then creates mentally this whole thing of separation. You see what I mean? So when we're talking about positive and negative, understand that in spiritual comprehension, it doesn't mean that positive is good and negative is bad. It means what you're creating in consciousness based upon the choice in the direction you're choosing to go, in the sense of where you choose to direct your own personal consciousness, where the mind is the vehicle for it, okay? And this determines whether you're going to be moving more up into higher positive energy, or whether you're going to be moving into lesser levels of positivity, which then start to get into this negativity of separation. So you're separate from yourself, and you begin to become separate more from your sense of the inner source within you. You begin to be more separate towards your sense of connection to nature, if you want to say. You're feeling this, you're not feeling this unification within yourself. There's more a sense of separation. So between that separation, negativity is what breeds the fear. And then the fear comes up, and that becomes to repel. That repels the positive. You see what I'm saying? But it's the positive that can transform the fear. You see what I'm saying? Because the fear is going to want to shut down, contract. It's not going to expand. And again, it's that separative kind of mentality, what you're dealing with. So what happens? So what I'm saying here is that when we're dealing with energy, and when I'm saying about the energy people hold inside of themselves, and what we find ourselves frequently putting ourselves around, where we frequently place ourselves, around the people, around the places. You're dealing with energy. And there's a saying, birds of a feather flock together. And birds of a feather flock together because of resonant frequency. And this is how it works. You know, you never attract anyone into your life haphazardly. No one is attracted into your life by any such idea called accident. Yeah, that is the personality, the human ego construct of not acknowledging a greater law that exists. You're dealing with distortion when we're dealing with the laws, man-made laws and so forth. And what is taking place now is for us to tune into true law, true time, yeah, which is natural law, okay, which is governed by the laws of existence. So causation is a natural law. So we don't meet people by accident. They are meant to cross our path for a reason. And what happens if you're in a lot of judgment, you may not be able to perceive what that reason is. And you could be rejecting something that is for your assistance to transform you. Now, to assist in your spiritual progress. But if you're caught up in judgment, yeah, because you're looking at everything and everyone as a person because you see yourself as a person, then what ends up happening, y'all, is you're actually pushing away, you know, the fear that you carry is pushing away your blessings, so to speak. I know some word would use the word, because I have years ago broke down words and said, look, bless is be less. And you look into these words and like some folk is telling me bliss, because I used to say the word blissing. That could be the word. Bliss means joy. But reason I just chapped into that is because, yes, I'm using bless. And bless is opposite to what one would say curse. You understand? You know what curse is. So even the word bless can look at bless. Bless is beloved essence. Understand that. When you use the word bless, realize you're referring to beloved essence. That's the power in the word, in the energy. You got to use your power of creativity to empower yourself, okay? Because there is a, you know, word wizardry being used to also program the way we think, program the subconscious, okay? And through frequently repeating certain things without any conscious awareness of what you're saying, you're actually programming yourself. You're programming your subconscious to be a certain, you know, to materialize to you, draw to you what you're programming yourself as. Like the repetitive thoughts, the way you think and talk to yourself. That becomes your energy. And that energy can repel from you your blessings. You see what I'm saying? And so So I'm saying, yo, I've said a few things here and flowed into what I'm saying today. And it's like, so what's the subject matter? What am I actually saying? Well, I'm saying a lot of things, and everything is interrelated. But as I said, I bounced off from the previous show, which was getting out of herd mentality. And what I've explained about herd mentality, it's out of that group think tank, that group tank, where you're just stuck within a conformity. And also out of the herd mentality of what you've heard. A lot of people are just living through what they've heard. They think things about other people based on what they've heard, not through experience and knowing. And even if you are going through things based on what you heard about someone, that's the experience that individual had with that other individual. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that individual will have the same experience with you or interact with you in the same way. Different people can bring out different things, out of folk. You understand? So getting caught up in herd mentality, whether it's what you've heard or whether it's following the group, is very important, because if you don't, then you cannot say that you are real. You cannot say that you know yourself. You cannot be saying that you are an individuated, awareness that is on their own path. All you are doing is following the herd. Whether it's what you heard or whether it's the group you feel, your sense of belonging comes from. Now, I said earlier, I mentioned this thing about family. I went into that and I said family is where the word familiar comes through, and I don't agree with family being the most important thing. You're getting this type of thing being pushed out there. Everyone's going fam, yes fam, and your so-called earthly family could be or not be your worst enemies. Because as I said, when people are familiar with whom they perceive as a person, just like themselves as a person, they don't like to see persons change. They are comfortable with how someone has been that they're used to. And when you begin to move in your spiritual progress, as you progress in your spiritual attunement and alignment, and you're going to start clearing out all of the negativity you've been holding in your mind, which you've been falsely identifying with as you, as a person, you're going to have persons, whether they're familiar with you or not, whether they're family or not, try to get in your way. Come with all of that judgment on you, critique, because they want to bring you back into the program that they themselves have not decoded and freed and liberated themselves from. They have not even thought and questioned the thinking, the ideas, the beliefs that they're using to think with. You see what I'm saying? So as Aaron correctly was saying as well about what keeps us informed through what you've heard, you know what I mean? And what you check on the TV to inform you. And it keeps you in the form, the stale old form, which needs transforming, you see, because it becomes that limited construct that becomes your prison. You see? Now, I flowed straight for about an hour and 45 minutes. Just talked, and time don't seem like it's even moving like that. It's just, whoa. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been speaking for 2 hours, more or less. Yes, I had a caller call in and contributed. But what I am saying this evening is very important. Yes, it's bouncing off from the previous show. getting out of the herd mentality. Now, the thing is, when you're dealing with energy, you're going to be beginning to feel people's thought projections. Their mental, what they're on the mental plane doing, which most people have no idea what they're doing. You see, most people, with what they're doing, you don't even have to go to an Obia man, or what we would call in Jamaica an Obia man, or go to some, or in ancient older times, centuries ago, they would say witches and wizards, who they would associate as people who you can go to and they'll do some, drop some roots on or something, cast something to interfere with someone's life at the request of who came to them to ask them to do something unsavory to somebody, okay? Now, I said some time ago that it's not fear is what is being used to control most of us. It's ignorance. Because what you're ignorant to then can bring fear up in you, and that's where the fear comes in and manipulates you. But it's mainly ignorance. So a lot of people are ignorant to what they're doing. And it's fearful when you expose them to them, reveal to them the significance or the implications of what they're doing with their minds, with their thoughts. I knew someone who was standing next to me one time and they were saying some real negative crap about themselves. And in that moment, I felt like I wanted to turn around and slap them in their face. And why? Because I was feeling the energy they were putting out about themselves. And I felt that way about them. And I felt to mirror back the energy. But I knew myself. And I quickly turned to them and I told them, you need to stop talking about yourself like that. Yeah. And you have people, and especially in this country, well, I would say, no, not just this country, because I see people do it, but it's a certain cultural thing where people think that cursing each other out is some idea of endearment. English terms, which I don't use. Someone's a tusser or a wanker or these terms. In America, you sucker or you, cursing folk out as if to say, if you respond to that in a way where you go, hey, man, don't call me that. Don't talk to me like that. Oh, you're too touchy. Oh, what's wrong with you? You see what I'm saying? And you see, the thing is that what folk don't realize is that when you're dealing with energy and when you're dealing with why you got to come out of this herd mentality and spend time with yourself to clear out your own vibrations, to clear out of your mind the content that's in it that is not enabling you to tune in to your spirit, to the spiritual being that you are, where that consciousness is of a higher vibrational frequency and is not off the consciousness of the lower earthly plane. Okay? You see, why I'm saying what I'm saying and why it's all interconnected is to make you realize this. You see, when you're thinking thoughts, you're not just shaking little matches in a match box and that's where it stays contained within there. You're actually striking and activating vibrational frequencies that emanate from you towards whomever and whatever you're thinking about. And if you're thinking about, you get some people, they don't like folk because they're intimidated by the energy they may carry, or they just think that by holding someone's face, name in their minds, and they're sending all of their resentment and anger and projecting their trauma that they're carrying inside. Which ain't got, you see, this is why the personality, this mask, as long as you identify with this, you'll be projecting your own illusions. And I think it was Aaron that he mentioned on the He mentioned on the live chat, because I saw that at the beginning. He mentioned on the live chat. He mentioned on the live chat, yeah, as an advice, don't suffer self-imposed illusions. Because a lot of folk on the personality is, because they're suffering from self-imposed illusions, they're transmitting that self-imposed illusion to how they personally, what they personally think and believe about somebody else, and sending curses to them, not blessings to them. You know, you hear people out of their mouth like it's nothing. Oh, I hate so-and-so. Oh, you know, that person, you know. And some of these folks think they're conscious in the sense that their awareness has risen above certain lower degrees, which make them believe they are no longer operating and functioning at those lower frequencies, right? But they're sending out with feelings, with the emotions, these negative, these negative energies, wavelengths. And as I said, when you think, you're activating a frequency, a vibrational frequency. And you're sending then, broadcasting this frequency, just like this is a broadcasting station, and I'm transmitting, through the frequency of this broadcasting station, what I am conveying, what I'm transmitting. And because you got the frequency receiver transmitter, the receiver receptors, frequencies, you're able to pick it up. Okay? So others who you're sending these nasty thoughts to, depending how spiritually sensitive they are, will also be able to feel what you're sending them. Now, the thing is this. Many people all of a sudden just seem to die all of a sudden. Yeah? You get people like, oh my gosh, this person fall out and whatever. And we always look for the cause miles away from, you see, this, what I'm about to say may upset some folk right now, because this is the scary part to certain people, because they don't want to associate that they're with themselves, that they're dirty, negative, anger, resentment, all of that rancid, toxic stuff, hatred and thing that they carry affects other people in close proximity to them or at a distance. You got people who just keep thinking negative thoughts, wishing for someone's demise, wishing for someone not to succeed, wishing for somebody, to suffer in some way. And one day they may hear that this person has passed away, or, oh gosh, you hear what happened to so-and-so. And for a quick moment, I know each individual will check himself if they know they didn't like the person anyway. I wonder if I had anything to do with that. But then they say, well, I wasn't physically involved with that, so it had nothing to do with me. Well, let me tell you something. All dis-ease that eventually manifests in the physical body didn't start out that way. It originated in the consciousness. It originated in the thought. So when I talked earlier about mind field, mental field, we're in a mental field. And if you don't transcend that mental field to connect with the spiritual plane, which is the realm that your soul resides in, then you will get mental attacks. It's mental wars. In fact, the war, which people think is called a spiritual war, is happening on a mental plane. Not the spiritual plane, the mental plane. That's why it's called a minefield. And many folk are projecting and sending their personal. You see, this is why, as long as you think you're a person, you're transmitting your personal shit. Your personal grudges, just stuff that you're not even working out in yourself, but you think that someone else is the personal cause to the trauma that's coming up in you that you're experiencing. Yeah? When As I said, spiritual progress is like detoxification. When you walk this path for spiritual progress, you are going to have to clean out your cup. You're going to have to face your suppressed stuff. You're going to have to take ownership of your energy, all of it, in order to transmute that energy, allow these things to come up to clear it, to clear them from your from the cellular level of you, in order to be able to transmute it, dissolve it, transmute it, and now you can receive the clean water. Because that clean water is of a higher frequency. And from the moment you ask for healing, you're opening yourself up as a gateway to higher light frequencies. And that higher light frequency is going to seek out, it's going to move to the lowest vibrations you carrying in your body in order to clear that out so it can make room for itself. Because that higher frequency is not going to be able to reside in the same place, same space with that negativity. It can't do that. It's a higher frequency, and therefore, just by its state, it's going to transform the place. It's going to transform the state of what you're residing on vibrationally as a consciousness at that moment, or in that specific, how you been for how long. So that higher frequency is going to come up and go in, and it's going to bring up what's in the dark, bring up what's suppressed, bring up what you're denying, bring up what's hidden. And if you're not ready for that, what comes up, someone could be a higher frequency, bring up in you all of that which you been suppressing and denying all that time. And you're going to look at them on a personal level and can't see who they are and what they are. But you're going to believe that they are the personal source. Yeah, they're the source for your personal displeasure, your personal pain. Okay? When actually their frequency, they come in a trigger and bring that clearing. You asked for it. Now, I'm not saying that all spiritual progress is an unpleasant experience. No, I'm not saying that. But because of judgment, the detox process can be perceived mistakenly as a negative thing. Yeah? As a, oh my gosh, because you're resisting your own liberation. Some people have so frequently been holding on out of habit onto certain states that they walk and carry that they've made an identity out of it and don't want to let it go. So look, y'all, I could go and I could flow all evening, all night, y'all, because I'm tuned in and I don't get tired. I'm actually downloading and uploading information, knowledge that's coming through the ether. You know, you have access just like your Wi-Fi and computer. What does the Wi-Fi do? It picks up frequencies in the air. You see? And then that downloads that information. Yeah? For you to be able to possess it, for you to be able to observe it, for you to obtain it, for you to read it. Every cell on your cells, on the membrane of every cell, there's cell receptors. Why would you have receptors on your cells? Because they are there to pick up information that's being transmitted and broadcast. And we all are receiving cosmic energy, frequencies, 24/7. So it seems like it's a big, the ego mind wants to make a lot of this spiritual thing very spooky, mystical. Mystical is your soul, but mysterious and, complicated. When the thing is, it's not as complicated as the person tries to make out, the conditioned mind. You see, you are what technology is basing all of its inventions from. You're the biological cosmic technology. You got a spiritual technology. You're spiritual technology. So I can sit, tune myself in, clear my mind, because I'm not my mind, and begin to tune in to cosmic frequencies. When you focus your thought on a particular thing, you're sending out a searchlight to tune in vibrationally with that which you're thinking about. Hence, you get people who can pick up the impression that someone's thinking about them. But not everybody's thinking about you in a favorable way. So there's those who he can feel what's being transmitted. And if that feeling, if what's being transmitted from another broadcast station, another mind, right, is not love, it's all mixed with personal illusion, then you're going to feel that. And you can do stuff to send that back. But you got to be positive in yourself. Because a lot of people also carry in themselves low frequencies of the fears they have in their subconscious of what's not, is what makes them susceptible to other people's negative thoughts that they send to them. And people die. You create cancer in people. You got people holding on to hatred and resentment, yet they're hugging you up about I love you. Huh? You got people who are partners and they're sleeping together. And they got harboring, one or the other's harboring some nasty hate and resentment in their heart. And they think that don't have no energetic impact upon the partner. And then the partner dies. And they're bawling out their eyes about, oh, I lost my partner, But you see, if he's going to turn around and say that, you know what, through energy transference, you see, you heard that? A lot of people are killing their partners. Yep, I'm saying stuff on the radio that be, whoa, yeah, because some folk won't feel what you talking about. Yeah, I'm talking about what I'm saying, yeah. Nothing is happening out of the blue. No one and nothing, right, dies by accident or has an accident without there being cause behind the effect. And the way people mentally are, and the ignorance and the denial that they're in for not taking no responsibility for their energy state, to realize the greater reality that they don't want to acknowledge because they can't see it. Anything that goes beyond their eyes can see, they don't accept exists. But vibrationally, you will be able, as you grow, to know and see and read people vibrationally yourself. It's not something that is only special few can do. But you got to be doing the work on yourself. You got to be tuning into who you are. You got to be desiring to clean out your cup, so you can be a clear, a clean conduit, a conductor for your soul's energy and power. So y'all, the vibration we hold is the vibration we give. And the aesthetics and the physical is not enough to bring to you what you desire or what you say you want. There's a lot of women, and I use the word women because the female, as I said, is the emotion, magnetic energy. And that's the feminine energy aspect in a man. his emotions, is the magnetic aspect. The masculine is the electrical, active aspect. The penetrative, active, directive energy. That's the masculine. And the receiving, magnetic, pulling and pushing, emotional impulse is the feminine. And water holds on. You hear the term water retention. Water, emotions. Women hold. It holds. That's why it's called magnetic. It pulls and holds you there. Or it can repel, push away. So what you send out electrically is what people draw back to them magnetically. And this is happening all the time. And you can remain ignorant to it because the truth makes the person feel uncomfortable. And they don't want to take any responsibility to change the way they think and feel, to clean out their dirty cup. If you are with someone and you're saying you're sharing intimacy, then you're transferring stuff. Unless the other individual has a higher degree of positive self-identification than you, then they generate a positive mental field of protection. And they can dissolve, neutralize, or just deflect the lower frequency of negativity that's being sent to them. All these things is what you're going to have to learn, y'all, and realize this is real. And this is what you're going to have to deal with. Because if you think this whole world has been set up based upon a few people who are just smarter than you, and they've just been able to trick your mind, and that's how they've managed to get into power, and there you are just being fooled and fools, and that's why you're in the position you're in. Then gee, man, then yeah, you be in ignorant pit for quite a long time. These folk know about this stuff, which is why they put this type of knowledge in the occult category, which means hidden, and have conditioned many people from a religious perspective to see anything outside of the Bible to be evil. Now, if you're using an energy that you're using it in a way to oppress others and to keep and empower yourself, but you know that that energy is what the very people you're possessing also have access to, you're going to make them not want to access that energy by firstly making them think it's evil. Because if they were to use that energy and free themselves, you couldn't rule them. You can't control them. So you have to make people believe that, these things I'm talking about is only a few people who know this, and it's only you have to be into this and that to know about this type of stuff. And I'm trying to tell you that actually you don't, because through the ignorance of many folk, hence why you've heard this statement, forgive them for they know not what they do. You heard who's supposed to, you heard the story and who has mentioned that thing. Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of people are doing things out of ignorance, which is murdering their own partner and their own kind, and they're sending these curses, not blessings. Yeah, beloved essence. You're not transmitting from the beloved essence. You're not seeing someone as a beloved essence. You're not seeing them as a soul. You're seeing them as another person, because that's how you see yourself, as a person. When you know yourself as a soul, you'll begin to see others as souls. You'll see what's beyond the person. You'll feel their soul energy. But you'll also be able to feel the personal energy, that personal likes and dislikes, judgmental stuff as well. Okay? But each individual's got to make the choice in who and what they are to be. Come. And we're in that time, as I said, the stellar activation cycle where you're waking up out of this great sleep. And consciousness is now on the rise and expanding again. And now this is the time where old structures are going to dissolve and torn down. And for the new to come in, the old energies cannot remain. So you're seeing this taking place. Yeah, with the government structuring and what's taking place in how people are deciding to govern themselves by taking back their power and know their energy and be the master of their energy. So there are going to be things you're going to have to let go. Yeah, if someone, if it's not nourishing, you see, you're going to have to feel into this, y'all. And I'm not saying, let go, like you better than somebody or something, or they're less than you. No, I'm talking about letting go of what is not nourishing your soul, letting go of what is outdated, old behavior, old constructs that is making you now a crystallized, limited being. Yeah? This is about letting go. And a lot of people don't want to let go. Yeah, to go with the flow. You got to let go to go with the flow. If you're in a river and the river's flowing, you holding on to the banks. You can't flow by holding on to the banks. And you may be afraid, oh my gosh, but if I let go, I'm going to get taken away with the river. But what is that saying? You're afraid to let go and trust in the flow of the vibrational currents of life, which is what you are. And there's going to come a point where you're going to have to let go of the banks in order to flow with the stream of life, of consciousness that is ever moving in, through, and around you, flowing and originating from the absolute source of all that is, which you contact within yourself, because the source is inside you, not outside you. So, y'all, that's what I feel I'm going to call the show. The source is inside you, not outside you this evening. So, y'all, I'm going to call it a night. And, for those of you who managed to tune in and be able to get and flow with what I'm saying, there's a lot of jewels in what I've said. This is not some radio rant. There's a lot of jewels in what I have sent and what I have said and what I've transmitted. And it's up to you to be wise enough to be able to write down them notes and, you know what I mean? Move through with what's resonating with you. Move true with what's resonating with you. Yeah, resonate with what you appreciate. You get what I'm saying? Or you can, what it is? Swines. You know, when you throw pearls to swines, there's a term. Don't throw pearls to swines. Well, it's the individual is going to decide what they is. Because the swine's a wild pig, a wild boar. And it doesn't know the difference between food. Listen, you dash pearls, it will think it's just food and yam it up. Yeah? It eats feces and all kind of whatnot. Wild hog. That's what a swine is. So there's pearls being thrown here. And I obviously am not the one who's deciding what one sees themselves as. Each one has to come to know thyself. So each one has to make the choice for themselves. If the knowledge ain't for you, it'll just go past, gone anyway. You see? But this is a time where it's about expanding that avenue of consciousness for for those who resonate on this to find avenues that empower you, that you can value and transmit that energy back. You see what I'm saying? Because that's how you amplify the frequency, that higher positive frequency. You see? So, yes, I said a lot. I've touched on many things, yeah. Touched on many things. So the source is within you, not outside of you. The truth is in you, not out there. So on that, I'm going to disappear and reappear next Tuesday for you on the Cosmic Roots Show. I appreciate love all of those of you who tuned in, took the time to tune in, and who value, what I'm doing. Because you already are tuning into that light and ready to come home to the formless awareness of who you are and step out of this mind and person identification, because that is what's coming under attack in this time. And if you're not strong and steady in the I am presence of you, man, whoo, you're going to see more of stuff and people flipping out because it's the person. They're defending the person, the psychological, emotional construct of the mind. And the mind will attack. And the more you get moving into yourself, the mind will attack you. But that is just to make you stronger so you can stand in your true power and true presence of the essence of the one within yourself, of who you truly is. Because you're not a person. But I can't tell you that and that be enough for you to, well, now I know who I am. You got to experience this by tuning in to the spiritual being you already is. And you first got to detoxify yourself from all that negative what's not. Even anyone doing Kundalini and just doing it blind. Yes, I'm going to do my Kundalini and do all of that stuff. If they ain't opening their heart chakra and they're still dealing with, they're not even conscious of the negativeness that they hold, the separative thoughts and feelings and, all of that stuff they contain. Whoa! They're going to have anybody who's done this will testify the truth. If they, their own negativity will come out and you're going to feel like you want to die. You're going to want to kill yourself because the discomfort. But you'd have to realize to get through this that the only reason you're experiencing discomfort is because the negativity that you're holding is getting cleared out. And that's the process before you get the collaboration, the recollaboration of the positive higher frequency of your soul now flowing through you as a worthy and how you can say purified conduit or conductor. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what this body is. You see? This is what your vessel and vehicle is. All right, y'all. So, soul brothers and sisters, I'm going to make it, I'm going to disappear to reappear and demanifest and remanifest for y'all next Tuesday. So, yes, enjoy your shadow hour. And I wish all my my soul brothers and sisters, a good restfulness, rather than sleep. Because we are waking up out of a sleep for those who want to wake up. So, in that saying, you take good care, y'all.
Wow, 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 now.